Kung pinapanood nyo ang video na ito, siguro alam nyo na aalis na si Doc Adam sa platform na malapit ng mag 2 million subscribers. Ngayon, gusto ko lang ibahagi ang mga ilan sa mga isip namin tungkol sa bakit ba umaalis si Doc Adam and kind of how we can relate a little bit to some of the things that he was saying.
Sabi nga ng isang close friend of mine, yung nangyari kay Doc Adam, yung sa last video na in-upload niya, isang first-hand experience for him kung gaano kabulok ang sistema dito sa Pinas, gaano kabulok yung mga Filipino. Well, hindi naman lahat, so huwag kayo ma-offend, pero aminin natin na madami talaga tayong kabulukan, na madaming backward thinking, madaming lason sa lipunan.
Mabuhay kayo! Paki-subscribe at sampalin ang kampana.
Unang-una, ako ang inyong kakampi na si Puting Pinoy, isang puti na may pusong Pinoy. Puti.
May puting ina.
Yes, puting ina ako.
Puting ina niya.
Yes.
And I'm Gail!
Yun, so mga kakampi, huwag kalimutan na sampalin ang like at sampalin ang kampana. And nakakainis ito. For context, let's back up a little bit.
Doc Adam is a licensed doctor in Australia na gumagawa ng contents about wrong medical information here in the Philippines.
Nang nag-debunk siya ng isang naturopath na nagbibigay ng delikadong health advice, she sued him for $1 million. Okay, now back to what we were saying. Medyo matagal na kami in communication ni Doc Adam, and it's this thing that's happening, right? Where there seems to be this massive aversion sa mga critique.
Yes.
Basta bumatikos ang tao, killjoy na, or he's doing it just for views, or he's doing it...
Lalo na kung ang binabatikos ay someone very popular,
like
someone
an
na
idol,
mayroong following.
Which is sad because, a lot of the old Greek ancient civilizations, the way that they progressed was actually critiquing one another, was actually through criticism, which allowed them to learn and to improve and become better. So, naiintindihan ko talaga ang frustration ni Doc Adam patungkol dito. We put in so much time, so much energy, so much heart into the things which we make, and for it to be something that gets misunderstood, mislabeled as being only for views or being a pakialamero. And on top of all of that, getting sued for $1 million dahil lang ibinahagi niya ang correct medical advice, itinuwid niya ang maling health information, that's just sad. Bukod kay Nico David, wala pang masyadong debunking bago dumating si Doc Adam. I mean, others shared a bit, but it really gave me strength and courage to speak up. It gave people like Batas Natin, Elaine from Invested Lifestyle, all voices to speak out against things which are unethical. Huwag din sana natin kalimutan sa dami ng mga YouTube channels na na-shoutout niya or na-boost niya. At kasama ako sa mga nakinabang dahil sa influence niya. Kaya salamat kay Doc Adam. And no, I didn't always agree with everything that Doc Adam said or did, but that doesn't matter. I agreed with a lot of it, and so much of it was so important to just impacting YouTube here in the Philippines for the good.
Lalo na kung, genuine naman yung intention. Gusto lang makatulong, gusto lang mag-correct ng wrong information. At sobrang nakakalungkot kasi hindi lang ito sa YouTube natin napapansin. It's very rampant sa Philippine society na mas sinusuportahan pa kung sino yung mali. Kung yung maling yun ay merong power, merong pera.
Yeah, kung popular.
Kung popular.
So frustrating. A lot of the times what will happen is may mga tao, halimbawa, may binatikos si Doc Adam. And yung tao na binatikos niya, sa halip ng gagamitin nila ang mga facts or pagkakaroon ng magandang civil discourse, their immediate thing would be to send
personal attacks.
not just personal attacks, but like threats. Threats of lawsuit. Which kahit ako, nakatanggap na ako ng ganyan, which I felt was just insane because the person was clearly in the wrong. They were in the wrong to the degree that they even had removed a post, but they still, their first reaction wasn't to correct their mistake, it was to threaten to sue me, which is really damaging psychologically, and that's why they do it. Kasi alam nila na effective.
Yeah. At saka, yung panglaban nga lang dito sa mga ganyang kaso ay pera lang. Pera and connection. So kahit ikaw yung nasa tama, kung wala kang support ng powerful connections, wala kang pera na pang counter, at kung wala kang strong will.
Siyempre, lugi ka. Siyempre,
matatalo
ka lang. And susuko ka agad siguro. And this is just very, very problematic of something. Maraming kasamaan, maraming corruption ang pinapahintulutan ng mga tao dahil ganito yung sistema.
Madami kasing tao, lalo na sa masa, ang tingin ko nag-give up na din. Nag-give up na sila dun sa fighting for your rights and fighting for what's right.
Which, I mean, kung ang alalahanin mo ay, kung paanong pakainin ng isang pamilya or ang sarili, naiintindihan ko yan. But the thing is that these problems, which I think Doc Adam has highlighted, and I've tried to highlight a lot as well, is people doing unethical things and getting away with it and not striving to accept critiques and learn from things. In the long run, the only thing that's going to happen is kung mayaman ka, yayaman ka palalo. Kung maganda ka, saswertihin ka, at yan, baka uunad ka. Pero kung wala sa mga ganyan, malas ka lang sa buhay. You don't have a chance to progress.
It's just so unfair kasi, diba, ang mga tao gusto ng pagbabago. Yung mga mahirap, gusto nila ng pagbabago, gusto nilang umangat sa buhay. Pero patuloy lang yung cycle kasi hindi sila makabreak, hindi makita. Pinipigilan siguro yung mas tamang term. Hindi naman intentionally na ayaw nilang mag-break to break the mold and to get out of
it's hard. Life is hard. Mahirap na talaga ang buhay.
Pero yun nga, pina-power trip tayo ng mga may kaya.
Maapi pa rin tayo. And that's why it's like, mamulat muna sana tayo, matauhan tayo sa mga critical thinking. Kung ano ba ang inaakala natin ay mali o tama, dapat may paliwanag tayo kung bakit mali o tama. We should be going to the very basics of critical thinking and trying to develop and think. And, things such as philosophy are so undervalued.
Yeah.
And they're so necessary in order to forming societal norms which are actually good and helpful to people to progress.
Sinasabi ng mga tao, ano yung critical thinking na yan? Ano yung philosophy na yan? Makakain ba yan?
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
Like it's a long-term thing. It's a big picture thinking. It's what Henry Luna had when we watched that. And then when he was killed, the Spolarium na tinatawag, that was a bunch of people being short-sighted, being offended so easily by things. And Doc Adam has said it, ang daming mga celebrities and influencers na nagpa-promote ng mga products na may false claims. And even companies promoting things with false claims, false and potentially dangerous health claims. And these things are harmful, ultimately, but they're also making money from it. So where are the ethics there? You're making money from giving people something that's terrible. Sa US, McDo, they really got a lot of help from customers because of documentaries such as Super Size Me. Patungkol sa unhealthiness of the food of McDo. Did McDo sue this company, the people who made this documentary? No. Because it's their freedom of speech, it's their freedom of expression. And it has truth. Can they really prove otherwise?
Pero dito, kapag ganun ang nangyari, isa-silence lang yung nag-react or yung nag-a-attempt na ipakita yung katotohanan.
Sasabihin nila, sinisira mo ang negosyo ko. Well, if your negosyo is doing something that is potentially harmful, don't you think it is in need of reform, rethinking, fixing? Kung ganun pa man, na sasabihin mo na no, it doesn't matter, what matters is silencing people. What matters is people not criticizing, keeping the peace. Okay, well, people are dying because of allowing such systems. People are remaining poor because of allowing such systems. You can just see yung pagtakbo ng mga bagay dito sa Pilipinas. A lot of it is aimed at exploiting people's ignorance and exploiting people's vulnerabilities. And are these companies doing it intentionally? Are these promoters, these social media influencers, are they doing it intentionally? Hindi naman siguro.
Probably not. Pero in the dark din sila siguro, or hindi sila nakapag-research din gaano kasi nabulag sa pera, or naniwala lang sila ng basta-basta. Kaya yun yung kailangan nating i-practice, yun yung kailangan nating baguhin sa ating lipunan. Huwag tayo maniwala basta-basta. Mag-fact check tayo. Gamitin natin yung science, gamitin natin yung data.
Yeah, kasi kung nalaman na, sige, baguhin na. If you don't want to do that and you'd rather just, sige, magsasampa ako ng kaso. Kung ganyan ang magiging mindset mo, wala talagang pag-asa ang Pilipinas. Wala talagang pag-unlad ang Pilipinas. And it just sucks because when people actually do care, they get
nothing.
Yeah, I mean, and yan nga, siguro yan ang isa sa mga dahilan kung bakit si Doc Adam, he's using these examples of these famous celebrities and these companies. One, to educate the public, and two, that's what's going to get views and traction. That's the sad reality of it. Marami akong nakikitang comments, magturo ka na lang ng tama. Well, I'm sorry, hindi nyo naiintindihan yung YouTube algorithm. Hindi nyo naiintindihan yung YouTube economy.
Tsaka,
you will not get...
naman ng tama, di ba?
Yes, exactly. For me personally, he has maybe been a little bit more crass than I would. Mas matindi pa yung mga niya kaysa siguro gagawin ko or sasabihin ko madalas. But he still has points, and those points aren't worth being sued over. Those points aren't worth receiving threats of being sued. So naiintindihan ko talaga kung bakit alis si Doc Adam. And wag din sanang magulat kung ako din susunod sa halimbawa niya and alis din. Like, it's so tiring and exhausting, and it's like, I could just go ahead and make, whatever type of, shallow content, which I'm not saying lahat ng shallow content ay masama. Kung minsan, kailangan din natin ng entertainment, but I'm just saying, there's things that ought to be said, ought to be heard. And unfortunately, they're not being heard. They are being said, but they're not being heard. And they're not being rewarded either.
Yeah, sabi nga ng isang close friend of mine, yung nangyari kay Doc Adam, yung sa last video na in-upload niya, isang first-hand experience for him kung gaano kabulok ang sistema dito sa Pinas, gaano kabulok yung mga Filipino. Well, hindi naman lahat, so huwag kayo ma-offend, pero aminin natin na madami talaga tayong kabulukan, na madaming backward thinking, madaming lason sa lipunan, na alam mo, ito yung may mga tao na gusto tayong tulungan umangat, pero hindi natin binibigyan ng suporta, hindi natin binibigyan ng chance na mas makatulong pa sa mas maraming tao. Kasi yung mga may kaya nga na naapektuhan yung business nila, gusto lang nilang i-silence, gusto lang nila na magpatuloy kung ano yung nagiging source nila ng kayamanan nila, kahit na unethical, kahit na hindi naman talaga nakakatulong in the long run. Parang nagbibigay lang ng band-aid solutions, pero patuloy pa rin na tinatapak-tapakan yung mga Filipino.
Yeah. And it's very frustrating, but I mean, we can see it. Kahit mga Pinoy mismo ang nagsasabi ng mga bagay niyon. Kahit sa pelikula ng General Luna, ulit, sabi niya yung mga Pinoy ang sariling kalaban. You know, and it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Because
It's been going on for many years.
yeah, and then it's like, you know, for somebody who looks like me, the expectation is, oh, just make a ton of videos talking about how wonderful the Philippines is. How can I do that pag marami akong alam tungkol sa katotohanan dito sa Pilipinas? How? Well, I've been speaking Tagalog, you know, kahit gaano kakengkoy, buhat nung 2008. Maraming bagay na hindi ko pwedeng gawin sa mga vlogs. So it would be dishonest and unethical to make content as if this was all new to me, you know? So it's like, I'd like to give more of, I don't know, something that could be helpful, because philosophy is my background. Philosophy is all about critical thinking. In the end, if people really don't care, if people really don't want to listen, okay, fine. Like, I'm the one suffering. Nobody is suffering. Nobody is suffering from, I mean, they are, because they're not using advice that could help them, but they're not the ones putting in the energy and the effort and making the 25 pesos an hour for 3 years doing these videos.
So, di pa naman talaga nag-give up ngayon. Mayroon pa tayong mga gustong i-try na tactics that might work, that we hope would work sa mga audience para ma-push yung content, para makita ng ibang tao, lalo na ng mga nangangailangan. Pero sana nga mas pahalagahan talaga ng mga tao yung importance ng critical thinking. Dahil kung hindi, kahit ano pang ipakita mo sa kanila, kahit ano pang i-feed mo sa kanila, walang magbabago.
Yeah, then it's just time to move on. Just like Doc Adam did. By the way, mga kakampi, kung gusto niyong tulungan si Doc Adam sa mga legal battles niya kay Doc Farah, isasama ko rin ang isang link sa comment section and description. Lahat ng mga donation will go directly to his lawyers. Sana
maging good agents tayo ng pagbabago, ng positive na pagbabago, hopefully.
Yes. If we're not having the discussions, how will there ever be change? Yun lang.